All right, hello everyone, Pastor Billy here. It is Thursday, November 19th, and I wanted to share with you our latest understanding of some new COVID restrictions in place in the state of Pennsylvania new this week. Two new orders put out that have the potential to affect our ministry here at Cornerstone. One is an update to the universal masking mandate, which actually has been in place for a while, but they've updated the language this week to now require masks to be worn even if you are socially distanced. Now this will have a minimal impact on Sunday morning worship, as we already require everyone to be in a mask, but this will have some effect in our small group ministries, children's church for instance, youth group, some of our life groups where previously we allowed for masks to come off if you were socially distanced. We'll be updating our guidelines this week to be in compliance with that latest order. The second order put out by the Department of Health are some travel restrictions. New as of Friday, November 20th, anyone crossing into Pennsylvania, including Pennsylvania the residents themselves, anytime you cross that state line, are required to either quarantine for 14 days or produce a negative COVID test. There are some exemptions to this order. For instance, if you're traveling for work, you are exempt. If you're traveling for medical purposes, you are exempt. We live in a tri-state area. Many of us, I know, cross that state line on a regular basis to go to the grocery store, to take your kids to school, and most importantly for us, to come to church. As many of you know, I live in Delaware. I live less than 15 minutes away from Cornerstone, yet I drive through 3 different states to come to church each day. And so we're trying to understand what these new travel restrictions mean for us and what they specifically mean for our congregation coming to church. I've reached out to the Department of Health. I've reached out to our state representative to try to understand that a little bit more fully. But I wanted to lay out for you today just 3 principles, 3 things that are informing my thinking as Laura and I are making the decision for our family as to what these travel restrictions will mean for us, and hopefully will be helpful for you. So principle number 1 is we want to do our part to stem the spread of this virus. The numbers are going up. We want to do our part. We are willing to be inconvenienced for the sake of our neighbor. Jesus calls us to be salt and light. And so of course, yes, as individuals and as a church, we want to do our part. Principle number 2 is submission to authority, biblical authority too, but submission to all authority. Several places in the Bible, including the Apostle Peter, 1 Peter 2, calls us to submit to the authorities over us. And of course, that's never just in a blind sort of way. Peter, who wrote 1 Peter 2, calling us to submit to authorities, didn't do that blindly. Actually, if you remember in our study of Acts chapter 4, Peter once stood up to the authorities over him that said, judge for yourself whether it's right to obey you rather than God. And so we need wisdom. Like Peter, we need wisdom to know when we are to submit to the authorities over us and when we need to take a stand. So principle number 1, we want to do our part. Principle number 2 is submission to authorities. And principle number 3 is the biblical mandate we have to meet together. Hebrews 10:25 says it very clearly that we should not neglect meeting together, as is the habit of some. Very thankful for the age in which we live that we can do online church and we can have a live stream worship service, but we know that's not quite the same as being together in person. There's a mandate that we have from the Bible. Part of what it means to be a believer is not to be isolated, but to be together. And so these are 3 principles, 3 things that are shaping my thinking, and I offer them to you as you figure this out. We have a number of people living in Delaware, living in Maryland, that are members at Cornerstone here. I don't have any easy answers for us, but we'll be praying for you, and you can be praying for the church as we navigate this change. And I do want to remind you that Cornerstone is online. We live stream our service every Sunday. We are committed to continuing to build out our online presence. If there's any way that I can be helpful to you, Pastor Dave can be helpful to you, Tim, or any of our elders, please reach out. That's it. Goodbye for now.